Just a quick feel of our program this afternoon. Of course, we'll be having the opening remarks. Then quickly we'll move on to the official remarks. Then we'll have the plenary session, and ultimately we'll have the closing remarks. Of course, to really make us feel safe and comfortable that we are needed here, please put your hands together for the Kara CEO, Mr. Henry Ochieng, for the opening remarks.
Our partners who have also joined us, we have a number of partners who have identified with this initiative today. Safaricom, Hansdale Foundation, Pakja, Pamoja Trust, Kofek, KEBS, and many others. Asanteni sana for being here. Members of Kara, I can see a number of you here. Thank you for always being there to support our initiatives, and you are very welcome. Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this forum and to ask you to feel at Kara and to listen very carefully to what we're going to discuss today and engage actively when the time comes. Actually, this forum is one of the platforms that we have as Kara to enable people, and especially our members and other stakeholders, to engage on topical issues. At Kara, one of our key thematic area is information, education, and communication, because we believe that it is only from a point of information that you can create an impact. It's only from a point of information that you can make meaningful engagement, even with the government. So we believe that people must have the opportunity to get information, and also must have an opportunity to engage leaders in different spheres of the society, so that they can be able to understand more about what is happening and how they can be part of that particular process. So the Kara Quarterly Luncheon is one of such platforms. We have others. We have one called the Residents Dialogue Forum, which is basically a discourse among various communities on issues about governance and many others. And we already have some of them running. And in this, we have partners like Safaricom is one of our partners in supporting the RDF, as we call them. And of course, we have many other people who we've worked with, including, I'm happy to see my brother, George Wasonga from CSUDP, who, as you recall, last year we worked with them very well on having a series of forums on governance debate and other activities. And we hope that this year we are going to have even more initiatives in that regard. We also have another platform called the bi-monthly talk series, which we hold every 2 months, and a number of you have had an opportunity to participate in that kind of forum. And of course, we appreciate Hansdale Foundation, who are also here today, for being our long-term partner in this particular platform. So, as you can see, the main thing about this platform is to get people together to discuss about issues that affect them. Because we believe that it is only through dialogue, it is only through talking to each other that you can come up with solutions. And we also are keen to ensure that out of these kind of processes, we come up with interventions that we can be able to follow through to ensure that we are influencing policy decisions, we are influencing ideas or initiatives that are going to impact positively on our lives. So we are going to have more of this kind of platforms, maybe more quarterly luncheons and more resident dialogue forum, more of the bi-monthly talk series, and of course, not just in Nairobi, but across the country. Last week, we were actually in Kilifi, and we were engaging with our members in Kilifi. We had a very, very useful session, and I can tell you, people are looking for platforms or opportunities to talk. Of course, in some cases, it's about venting, because people are so angry in certain cases where they just want to speak their mind. And it's through that kind of speaking that you also get to understand what the expectations are, and able now to make decisions that are going to address those kind of expectations. So for today, as has been mentioned, we are here specifically to talk about inclusive and sustainable economic growth. This is part of the Sustainable Development Goals, I think number 18. And we are interested in this initiative because it is our contention that if we are not able to achieve this particular SDG, then the other SDGs are at a threat. Because without sustainable and inclusive economic growth, you can't be able to drive the other agenda that you want to drive. So this is a very critical goal for us. And we just want to understand what is it that we can understand about this particular goal, but most importantly, what are our partners doing to ensure that they're supporting us as a country to achieve this goal? And today we are honored to have IMF here with us, and we are going to listen and understand exactly what are some of the measures, what are some of the steps that IMF has taken to ensure that Kenya is on the right path to achieving SDG number 8. And we'll be talking about the other SDGs as we go along, but I think for today, our main focus and our interest is on SDG number 8. And I hope that at the end of this particular forum, we all will have something to take away in terms of what we have learned, but also we'll also have an opportunity to contribute, because normally what I say is that when we have a speaker or a guest speaker or presenter, it doesn't have the monopoly of ideas or information. Even as audience, people who are seated here, we can also be able to share and contribute what we think, what we expect, and how we see certain ideas. So when you get to the plenary, please feel free to also share with us your views and what you think about the topic of discussion. So ladies and gentlemen, with those few remarks, I want to once again welcome you and ask you to actively engage and participate in this particular forum so that we can be able to be at a better place at the end of it all. Asanteni sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, please put your hands together now for the chairman, Kara, Mr. Richard Nyaga.
We have a very topical subject today, which is the role of the IMF towards achievement of inclusive and sustainable economic growth in Kenya. I am sure by the end of the session, you have appreciated, the partnership we have with the IMF in fostering development, growth in our country. Mr. Ochieng has already mentioned the 17 sustainable development goals, which were developed by the United Nations General Assembly in 2015 and supported by the membership. He mentioned Goal 17, which calls for universal action to end poverty, to protect our planet, and to ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. We are supposed to achieve that by 2030, hopefully. It's only maybe, 12 years from now. We should have peace, everybody rich, wealthy, this type of thing. Now, in Kenya, our government has domesticated those goals, and available resources have been granted to the government ministries responsible to ensure that they implement those projects. And our job as citizens, as Kara, is to support those efforts of the government in achieving those 17 goals. It's not an easy thing, because I'm told that for now, after 50 plus years of independence, we still enjoy a lot of disparity in economic well-being as a country. And I understand from the statistics available that, it's only 0.1% of Kenyans who enjoy most of the wealth. And 99.9% live in abject poverty. It's particularly, of course, to access to services across the country and access to opportunities. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, our capital city, Nairobi, has 15% more access to education than a county like Turkana, which has maybe 1% opportunity for children to go to high school. If you come to things, vital services like electricity, like power, whatever, again, the story is the same. People in many rural homes, they are lacking most of the services you enjoy in Nairobi. Even here in Nairobi, majority of the people who live in the city, of course, are very underprivileged. So it's very important for us to ensure that we have an inclusive, sustainable economic growth for everybody, and this requires deliberate measures, to fast track the enjoyment of these benefits. And today, we will be learning from the IMF rep some of the things we are supposed to do in order to achieve those objectives. And as you know, the IMF have been our partners for a long time, since independence. They have supported us in our efforts to grow our country. Of course, sometimes we are happy with the policies, sometimes we are not, depending on which side of the spectrum you come from. But overall, Mr. Mickelson, we are very happy with the work you do as IMF in our country. And we as CARA stand ready, to work with you. So thank you very much and have a nice afternoon.
Thank you so much indeed. And of course, the whole issue of how Kenyans respond is very important to note. Just put your hands together for our key partner working closely with CARA. Hans Seidel Foundation. Please put your hands together for Mr. Robertson Kabucho.
It's a pleasure to have all of you here this afternoon. Thank you so much for coming to participate in the 12th CARA Quarterly Luncheon. I'd like to commend each one of you for the interest that you share in learning and engaging on matters to do with today's topic. We are very honored to have as our guest speaker Mr. Jan Mickelson to give us the keynote address. Henry and the CARA fraternity, led by Mr. Richard Nyaga, the chairman. Hans Seidel Foundation would like to commend you and the organization for organizing this luncheon and bringing together these wonderful people. Hans Seidel Foundation has partnered with CARA, who is, as Henry had mentioned earlier, our long-standing partner. In an earlier conversation with Richard, he was telling me it's about almost 15 years thereabout of partnership. In organizing the talk series, I say talk series because, as Henry said, it's bi-monthly talk series, but for those who have been consistent in coming for those, you've realized that this particular year it's been happening almost every month, and I had noticed that the phrasing has been talk series, not bi-monthly talk series. Yeah, so with availability of funding, we hope it could continue being the trend that it's a monthly series as opposed to a bi-monthly series. So this talk series are on public interest issues, and they provide citizens an opportunity to engage with a variety of stakeholders in government, in the media, in the academia, with development partners, private sector, and even civil society. The Hans Adel Foundation is a German political foundation with its headquarters in Munich, Germany. And our work in Kenya through local partners such as CARA focuses on the areas of civic engagement, the rule of law and good governance, political dialogues, strengthening devolution, peace and human security, sustainable economic development, and lastly, environmental awareness and climate change adaptation. Our work cuts across constant civic education throughout the years, working with various public governance institutions to strengthen their internal structures, engagement with the private sector on key economic issues, seminars and initiatives on peace and security locally and in the region, and working with political actors such as political parties with emphasis on young politicians and a bias again towards young female politicians. On to today's topic, the inclusive and sustainable economic growth in Kenya, it really cannot be overemphasized. It is what Kenya really needs. And the IMF has a key role in its achievement, especially when it comes to guidance on matters, finance, and debt. We could tie today's topic, and I think Henry had alluded to this earlier, on sustainability, on the topic that was discussed in one of the recent CARA talk series in Nairobi, on sustainability of Kenya's debt. So hopefully in the engagement to today, we can tie that and establish some linkage. I hope today's discussion will then provide key takeouts for the relevant actors in the House to work on steering Kenya towards sustainable economic growth. I would therefore like to invite you to a productive engagement on today's topic through having your question answered, interaction with one another, as well as with the hosts. Thank you so much.
Many thanks, many thanks.